We are facing one of the greatest challenges. It is infiltrating our cities, buildings, and reaching deep into our industries. The result of ignorance is clear. Outdated pump technologies rule. Inadequate performance, energy waste, and bad control is the consequence. It's time to fight back. It's time to demand even more and bring intelligence into a wider range of pump solutions. It takes the courage of the best, the leaders, the visionaries, the engineers, the ones that never give up, the ones that have the power to find, fight, and replace unintelligent pumps everywhere. Demand more. Demand Grundfos iSolutions.
As textile has got various processes, right, from weaving to spinning and then moving towards end process of dyeing. We have similar products being used across this spectrum, and more importantly in spinning mills we have pumps for water intake, right, from borewell application, and then water treatment and towards humidification plants. And in the dyeing units we have very wide range of pumps which is being used. The applications are also very different. More importantly and noteworthy are some of them in the effluent treatment plants, and then you have RO application followed by dosing pumps, apart from the submersible effluent pumps which are being used. Grundfos has pioneered technologies for addressing this. As we have been in this country for the last 15 years, we have products which have been benchmarked in the industry. For example, if you take an RO plant, normally, conventionally, for a 5 metric cube RO plant, we were talking about a 5 horsepower pump. Today, we talk about a 2 horsepower pump. So that is a kind of energy optimization or energy reduction which has been brought into the market. Second most interesting thing, as the new technologies has emerged, when you put a new membrane, the membrane disturbances are less or obstructions are less. So the pressure required from the pump is lower. Once you use the RO plant for a couple of weeks or few weeks, the obstructions are increasing, wherein the pressure requirements are increasing accordingly. So in this situation, if you give a pump which has got a variable speed, then what happens initially is the power consumptions are lower, and over a period of time when the obstructions are high in the RO plant, the power consumption will become a little higher based on the requirement. But the pump will keep changing its RPM based on the demand and not a fixed speed where you'll be burning more of energy across the board. Secondly, on the effluent treatment plants, the most interesting and important aspect in effluent treatment is, unlike the clear water application where pumps can handle with very high efficiency, pumps are being used for handling clear water. In effluent, we have a problem because there is a certain amount of abrasion due to which erosion happens in the pumps. And the clearances between the impeller and the casings gets fastly widened away, and there is a drop in efficiency every year after year of operation. In Grundfos technology, we have something called a smart trim, wherein the clearances are adjusted at site without any skilled manpower requirement, and we are bringing back the efficiency to the factory setting for the first few years of its operation. That way you are able to save around some 7 to 10% of efficiency over a period of few years of operation. And the last one, what we have is the dosing pumps in textile. These are very unique. These are digital dosing applications where predominantly the liquid used for dosing a little bit expensive in textile industry. In order to save that, they have pumps which are precisely dosing the requirement of the taste, as well in the wastewater treatment plants. When you're dosing certain chemicals to maintain the liquid or water to the levels of pH or to correction of any other relevant chemical parameter like chlorine or other contents, then we need a precise dosing. And that is where Grundfos has got a dosing accuracy to the level of plus minus 1.5% and can dose as low as 1.5 ml per second. Very interestingly, in the energy optimization program in some of the textile mills, let us take the example of spinning mills. Most important area is the humidification plant. So what we have come out is the conventional humidification plants have been studied, and the pumps which have been under operation are being optimized in terms of doing an appropriate selection based on the needs of the site. So that's where we are able to save some amount of energy. The most interesting aspect what we have come out of late is, as I said to you earlier, on the variable demand requirement. They're giving a variable speed system, not a product standby, but a system which encompasses pumps in parallel operation, You will have a pump with a VFD and also a PLC with sensors. So the sensors checks the pressure or monitors the pressure. Based on the pressure requirement, it ramps up the speed of the pump with respect to using the VFD, and in totality, the desired pressure is delivered without any fall in pressure at any given point of time in its operation. Doing this, the user gets an advantage. The product of the user, the manufacturing end product, has a linear output. Unlike conventionally, what happens is when there is a shortfall in the supply of the liquid, there will be the product disturbance, which is not in this case. One such example which we can draw is on the process side of the textile, where when you have the jet dyeing machine, if you are able to circulate the cooling system faster, the product can be turned out much faster, and there is a lot of savings in terms of both energy and as well as the water. If you're looking at the life cycle cost, the very first approach what we had in Grundfos, when we started in late 90s and early 2000 in this century, we were talking to the customers when we were priced 3-4 times the competition. We talked about something called the stainless steel laser welded sheet fabricated technology against conventional casted products. So there is no comparison between these two, because one is a cast and the other one is stainless steel. But as a user, why should I buy stainless steel when I don't know what is going to help me out? But then that came the solution. What we came out of the concept, which is well known in engineering industry in European countries, is a life cycle cost analysis. When we talk about a pump, for example, the initial investment of a product is something between 5 to 15%. The larger portion of the cost goes from the energy cost. And the second biggest element of the pump is the maintenance cost. If you are able to design a pump to have a reduced energy consumption and have a reliable solution where the maintenance is much lesser, and where the initial investment is slightly higher, but over a period of time, say 5 years or 10 years span, you save a lot. And typically, with a lot of studies we did in some of the textile industries, our payback calculations have shown somewhere to the tune of around 18 months to 24 months as maximum, which is acceptable in any standards of industry. As India is all, from Grundfos perspective, India is also catering to Bangladesh. This has opened a floodgate of opportunities for us in Bangladesh, more importantly. But having said that, even in Indian context, there is an opportunity out here, because many of these industries are still scaling up. And fire, once you put in place, you need to check as you expand, is it the one which is installed at your place, is it meeting the requirement, or you need to change or refurbish it. The same case, what happened in Bangladesh was a different context. There was a fire accident, so the authorities woke up, and now they get into action after this unfortunate incident. Fortunately or unfortunately, many of their customers are from Europe or from US. So these customers demand a minimum amount of safety to the industry's employees. So that is how this is emanated. And Grundfos being the leader in FM UL systems. FM and UL are certifying agencies which has a broad guideline, wherein by using these guidelines, you manufacture the systems and solutions being offered to the market, you gain two things. One, the customer will get a reduction in the premium of the insurance they pay to the agency. Two, you are assured of the quality of the components being used in the end product. So these two things are getting addressed in fire things, and that is going to be the future in emerging markets all across. Interestingly, Grundfos is fortunately will be the leader in this, because we already have there in this market. And what makes us in a unique position is we are already offering within a small industry what kind of varying loads. We study them much more better, much more in detail. When it is coming in the larger footprint, what we will do is we will scale up the size of the products, and we will scale up the size of the optimization. Otherwise, the product remains the same, the concept remains the same, which is already available with us. Maybe for others, it may be a new concept. For Grundfos, I think we are already there, and this should help us to grow in the platform.